Jason stared at the empty space where his dreams used to reside. A year ago, he'd been on the cusp of graduating college, fueled by ambition and excitement for the future. Now, the walls of his small apartment felt like they were closing in on him, and the only thing that brought him solace was the steady rhythm of his own breathing mingling with the fragrant smoke that curled lazily through the air. It had started innocently enough, a few puffs during social gatherings with friends. At first, it felt like a gateway to a more colorful world, an escape from the mundane, the laughter, the carefree conversations, the vibrant artwork that seemed to pulse with life. Everything appeared more vivid and exciting. In those moments, Jason felt a sense of belonging, a connection to something greater than himself. But the allure of that escape quickly morphed into a relentless dependency. As weeks turned into months, he found himself choosing the haze over the realities of life. Classes became a chore. He skipped out on assignments, trading deadlines for another session of blissful oblivion. His friends who had once celebrated their shared highs began to fade into the background, their concern for him overshadowed by his need for solitude, cradled in a cloud of smoke. One chilly evening, sitting on his couch surrounded by empty takeout containers and crumpled snack wrappers, Jason realized he hadn't left the apartment in days. The thrill of being high had lost its luster, yet he felt trapped in a cycle he couldn't break. Each time he tried to resist, the weight of anxiety settled in, pressing against his chest, and he would succumb once more, seeking relief in the very substance that was dragging him down. His phone buzzed incessantly with messages from friends asking when they could hang out. Jason couldn't face them. The thought of their judgment felt suffocating. He fabricated excuses, convincing himself that he was fine, that he could manage his habits. Deep down, though, he felt a gnawing emptiness, a disconnection not just from his friends, but from the person he used to be. One night, as he lit another joint, the smoke danced in the dim light of his room, and he caught a glimpse of himself in the mirror. The reflection staring back was a ghost of the man he once was. Eyes sunken, skin pale, and an unkempt beard framing a weary face. It was a stark contrast to the vibrant, driven student he had been. A rush of shame washed over him, momentarily piercing through the haze. He dropped the joint and sank to the floor, tears streaming down his face. For the first time, he felt the weight of his choices bearing down on him like an anchor, dragging him further into despair. The next morning, Jason woke up disoriented, the remnants of the night before still clinging to his thoughts. With a resolve he hadn't felt in months, he reached for his phone and dialed his best friend, Mia. She answered on the second ring, her voice bright but cautious. "Hey Jay, it's been a while, how are you?" "Not good, Mia," he admitted, his heart racing. "I need help." Her silence felt heavy, but it was soon replaced by a rush of words. "I'm so glad you called. I've been worried about you." They met later that day at a coffee shop, a place filled with laughter and chatter. As he stepped inside, Jason felt a rush of anxiety. He hadn't been out in so long. Mia was already seated at a table, her face lighting up as she spotted him. She wrapped him in a warm embrace, and in that moment, Jason felt a flicker of hope. Over steaming mugs, he shared his struggles, the isolation, the endless cycle of addiction, the regret that clung to him like a shadow. Mia listened without judgment, her eyes filled with empathy. "You're not alone in this, Jason. We can figure it out together." They discussed the idea of seeking professional help. It was daunting, but Jason felt a sense of clarity. He wanted to reclaim his life, to rediscover the joy that had once filled his days. The journey wouldn't be easy, but for the first time, he felt a glimmer of determination rising within him. In the following weeks, Jason began attending support groups. Each session was a mix of vulnerability and strength. He listened to others share their stories of struggle and triumph. Their courage inspired him, and slowly, he found himself opening up about his own experiences. The more he spoke, the lighter he felt. The chains of addiction that had bound him began to loosen, and he started to reclaim parts of himself that he thought he'd lost forever. As months passed, the transformation was gradual, but profound. Jason discovered new passions, painting, hiking, even cooking. He reconnected with friends, and together they explored the city, filling their days with laughter and genuine moments of connection. Though the urge to retreat back into the haze still lurked in the corners of his mind, he learned to confront it head-on, embracing the discomfort as part of his growth. One evening, as he stood in front of a canvas, paintbrush in hand, he felt a sense of clarity wash over him. Each stroke was a release, a celebration of his journey. The vibrant colors came alive, reflecting the hope he had cultivated. In that moment, Jason understood that life, with all its complexities, was worth living. He no longer needed the smoke to escape. He had found a way to embrace the world in all its beauty. As he stepped back to admire his work, Jason felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude. The road to recovery was ongoing, but he was no longer alone. He had rediscovered himself, not just as a survivor of addiction, but as a vibrant individual capable of creating a future filled with promise and possibility. If you're having this problem, please feel free to reach out to us. We will help you to recover from this situation. Our contact number is mentioned in the video description.